Hi there, I'm Connor Boyack, founder and president of the Libertas Network. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through our theory of change. We call it the pyramid of impact, how our different initiatives and programs all interoperate within the Libertas Network to change hearts, minds, and families to create a freer future. This is something that the freedom movement completely has lacked before we built it. It's something that is sorely needed. And with your help, we would love to scale to reach and teach even more families to be part of the solution. Let's begin with the quote from Henry David Thoreau, which I love. There are 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil to one who is striking at the root. If I were to ask you, what are some branches of evil manifesting in our society? Perhaps some of these and many others we could develop a list of: widespread voter ignorance, plenty of restrictive laws that bind us down, rampant political polarization, government corruption everywhere you look, massive bureaucracy, media bias, and on and on. There are many branches of evil that we fight against, that we try to hack off those branches to stop them from growing. That's important work. I'm not saying that we ought not to engage in these types of issues. But like Thoreau, I want to question, what are the roots of evil? What can we focus on that can, if we change it, if we make an impact there, have significant effect on other issues? One of them I would suggest would be the education of the rising generation. If we as a movement only talk to adults, as commonly is the case in the freedom movement, we wait until they're maybe in college, but typically adult voters, we're letting our ideological adversaries educate the rising generation during their most intellectually formative years as they develop their worldview. And only later do we go to them with our ideas and resources, trying to expose them to our ideas. It's a critical mistake. It means we're forever playing defense. Perhaps you're like me. You'd like to go on the offense and actually win and actually grow our impact. So a root issue I would suggest is how the rising generation is educated, how new voters are being taught to think and what they're being taught is true and how their worldview is being shaped. And similarly with that, another root would be family, culture, and economy. This is something our movement does not typically talk much about. We, again, reach out to individual voters. We don't really connect our ideas with whole families, especially families with young children. And why is family culture important? Well, perhaps you've heard of the quote, politics is downstream of culture. I agree with that. I think politics is, in fact, downstream of culture. In other words, culture impacts the political environment and the Overton window, what's possible, right? But I think this term is incomplete. While politics is downstream of culture, I would argue that culture is downstream of the family. And if the freedom movement really wants to have transformative effect on the political institutions and outcomes of our day, not only do we need to engage in culture, as a few organizations in the movement now do, we really need to focus on the family. And almost nobody in our movement is doing that. This is a critical oversight and one that the Libertas Network is addressing. So we cultivate freedom one family at a time. We do this through an association of different projects and initiatives within the Libertas Network that interoperate to change hearts, minds, and laws. That interoperability is what we call the pyramid of impact, which I'll show you in just a moment. It's pretty easy how it works. First, we attract families through entrepreneurship. We launch fun events that are easy to join, fun to experience. We're not beating anyone over the head with a white paper or a political call to action or aggressively trying to push them to do what we want. Instead, we're serving them. We're going out into communities and helping families have these amazing experiences, which I'll talk more about in a moment. Then we educate families in multiple ways, primarily through our Tuttle Twins resources. And then finally, we engage these families to become agents of change, building this national network and then helping them fight for freedom. So entrepreneurship, education, and engagement. I'm actually going to flip that because here's our pyramid of impact. The base layer is entrepreneurship. Then we build upon that through education, and then we engage these families. I'm going to walk you through each step, why it's important, and how you can be a part of it. Step number one, entrepreneurship. We think it's the gateway drug to freedom. Someone who has earned something or built something inherently wants to defend it. They want to resist efforts to encroach upon it. Entrepreneurship is apolitical. It's American. It's awesome. It's a great way to teach families about free enterprise. And so we operate hundreds of events across the country each year, helping kids launch and start their own small business. In 2024, we've helped 28,000 youth entrepreneurs get started in 229 cities, and we're quickly, with donor support, trying to aggressively scale this into more communities across the country. Kids sell real products for real money. Could be food, could be homemade stuff, I once had a girl teach me a 15-minute ukulele lesson for $5, and she taught me a song on the ukulele. That was her little business. All kinds of trinkets and 3D printed stuff and slime and fidget spinners and apparel and anything you can think of, you can find with these creative kids launching their projects. Now, our events are typically very high energy like this. That's a lot of people. What we're doing here is we're solving for what I call the lemonade stand conundrum. Chances are with your children when they were young, you did some kind of lemonade stand experience. They're fun, they're cute, we love snapping photos and making memories. But those experiences are not great learning environments. And why is that? It's because 90% of the time the kids are just sitting there waiting for a car to stop. The learning comes from the interaction, resolving concerns, answering questions, refining your pitch, closing the deal. That's where the true learning and transformation comes. So we solve for that by flipping it. 90% of the time our kids are talking to people, engaging with customers, very busy, not only making a lot of money, but learning a lot in the process. How do we do that? How do we get so many people out to these events? We typically partner with existing large community events. Top left, you'll see the city's annual festival in the city that we were in. Bottom right, those are our kids, our youth entrepreneurs. The cities and the community organizations that we partner with love to do so because ours is a very family-friendly brand, and they can go to their constituents and say, hey, come support youth entrepreneurs in addition to, getting deep-fried Oreos. Our kids, of course, love it because there's that much more built-in foot traffic for them to sell to. Here's a short news clip showing you how these markets work.
Well, summer is officially underway right now, folks. The lemonade stands and the bake sales, they're popping up probably in your neighborhood. You've seen them out there.
And good for all you little hustlers out there making some money. Good for you. Well, as photojournalist Aubrey Schaefer shows us, one market is helping children take their entrepreneurial goals to the next level.
Pet rocks, come get your pet rock. Or this one.
I'm Whitney. These are my kids, the Hopes kids, and they are little entrepreneurs at heart.
The gold ones are 2, and then the other ones are 1.
And when we found out about this children's entrepreneur market, we knew that this was a great next step for them to pursue their dreams. So we decided to get on board and kind of come join in the fun.
Selling 3D printed stuff and stickers.
Fresh salsa, free samples.
It's just a market where kids can sell anything they want.
Oh, here, do you want to see my Pokemon?
It's really incredible to witness.
So we negotiate the price. So, for example, you could get away with that for $1.
They take their businesses very seriously.
How much do you want it for?
You may come and think, oh, they're all going to be lemonade stands.
Strawberry?
But the variety of product is really ingenious.
I'm selling candles.
Homemade jewelry.
Yeah, we all made all of these.
Scrunchies, artwork, 3D printed art.
We made these on the 3D printer. We made these by hand.
They really take a lot of time and thought into their products.
I'm doing some donuts, and I'm frying them, and then we're rolling out some dough right now.
That's one of our biggest rules, is that the kids have to do all of the work themselves.
Yeah, the kids run the whole thing. I help set up, and that's it. Then I just sit back and I let them do their thing.
It's pretty fun, especially how we're all selling different things. Would you like a bag for it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take
And they come away feeling confident and satisfied after they have this experience.
Mom, I made $8.
Everyone's so supportive of each other, and everyone's so excited to see these kids succeed. It's so fun to be a part of it.
Thanks for shopping.
Fingers crossed that I sell out, because I worked really hard on these, and I just really hope I do. But if not, oh well.
I absolutely
Slow
love
clap
that.
those kids.
Here's how our model works. In each metropolitan area where we operate, we hire a market manager. Here is a photo of some of them getting trained as we've been hiring more and more to launch in new metro areas. Once trained, these market managers are responsible for partnering with city event planners, community organizations, trying to find where we can partner together to get that heavy foot traffic, to get that high energy, so kids are not only making money, but learning a lot, having a great time, and wanting to come back another time to improve and grow. In each metropolitan area, we try to launch anywhere from 8 to 10 markets in our first year, up to 20 plus markets in subsequent years. So the kids have a repeated opportunity to come back, to apply what they've learned, to iterate and improve and grow. We operate a scholarship program for kids who want to grow their business beyond our market events. We give out between $500 and $1,500, kind of like a mini grant that these children have to apply for. They have to know their business, know their numbers, what they would use the money for. There's accountability and reporting on the back end so that we can help these kids actually lean in and launch businesses beyond an occasional Saturday morning. Now that we have that base layer of the pyramid in place, attracting these families through entrepreneurship, then we educate them. Every kid who comes to our markets, for example, gets a Tuttle Twins book. We give them a Tuttle Twins curriculum on entrepreneurship and so forth. The Tuttle Twins makes the ideas of liberty accessible to families, kids of all ages, and frankly, their parents, 58% of whom tell us that they are learning new things for the first time when they are reading the Tuttle Twins books to their kids, for their kids to learn. So we have over 36 books, curricula, cartoon, and more. We've sold over 6 million books. We have 1 million families in our audience. Over 500 schools use our materials, and the cartoon that I'll mention in a moment has over 250 million views now. We've got over 36 books spanning all ages, teaching things like entrepreneurship, free market economics, the Bill of Rights, true American history, personal responsibility, the dangers of socialism, logical fallacies, and critical thinking. Things that ideally schools would be teaching, but frequently are not, and if anything, they're often teaching quite hostile ideas. We've got books for toddlers, for younger kids, for teenagers. We got American history materials, helping kids learn the ideas of the past and apply them to today. As I said, we have a bunch of schools using our materials. We empower teachers to introduce these ideas in the classroom. And we partner with Angel Studios to produce a cartoon, and now award-winning cartoon in its 3rd season with over 250 million views, helping families learn these ideas in an even more fun way. And as they get exposed to the cartoon, they can then read the books for deeper learning and continue on their educational journey. Now that we've recruited families through entrepreneurship, we've nurtured the relationship by educating their children and the parents, we can then engage them in being part of the solution to advance freedom. We operate an award-winning think tank, Libertas Institute, that works at a state level in our home state and across the country, trying to pioneer these reforms and then using this national network to support us. We've changed over 150 substantive laws. We've improved the lives of over 18 million people as a result of these reforms. 24 of our reforms were the first of their kind in the country. I'll share a few in a moment. 87% of our proposals have been successfully enacted into law. Here's how it works. We call it our nail it, then scale it system. We nail it first in our home state, Utah, where we operate a policy incubator, Libertas Utah, to innovate these reforms in a very friendly environment. We have great relationships with elected officials. They've pioneered, they've adopted many of our reforms previously. And then once we get one state to have that reform, that increases the likelihood that other states will adopt it, because it's very difficult to get someone to be the first. But once someone has been the first, it's easier to bring others along. So we get Utah, our headquarters state, to be the first. Then we scale it. We partner with think tanks, grassroots groups, elected officials around the country to help them enact our reforms. And then the families in our network that we've recruited through entrepreneurship, through Tuttle Twins, through education, we're able to empower them to be part of the solution in their state, in their community. We introduce them to those partner organizations and help them be part of the solution to advance these reforms and do something proactive and positive to support their community. I mentioned the innovative first in the nation reforms that we've passed. Here's just a sampling. We've removed regulatory barriers for micro school education entrepreneurs. This is an innovative education approach that is bogged down under local regulations. We got the first law in the country passed to knock those regulations down. We've developed nation-leading privacy reforms to prevent law enforcement from going on fishing expedition, using new technology that can surveil us, see everything on your phone, go through your stuff. We're at the forefront of privacy reforms across the country. We streamlined permitting process for mobile businesses. Think of food trucks or a mobile barber, things like this, where you've got people going into multiple cities and having to comply with permitting and zoning and licensing requirements in multiple cities. We streamlined all of that to help these micro entrepreneurs succeed. We shielded innovative entrepreneurs from conflicting laws and regulations. This is what we call our regulatory sandbox, so that business owners who develop an innovative new product or service that may happen to conflict with some regulation or law passed decades ago, they have a grace period of up to 2 years where they can continue to operate and be shielded from that law or regulation while they demonstrate to regulators, policymakers, that it's safe, that they can go and amend or repeal that conflicting regulation, giving them a path to success. We created a way for gig workers to receive unemployment benefits. There's a lot of people that are leaning into the gig economy as their full-time job for more flexibility and freedom. But the problem is they don't have benefits. They're not traditional W-2 employees. And so we're at the forefront of labor reform, trying to fix things to help these gig workers and others like them. And then this is our famous lemonade stand law. We have repealed licensure and permitting requirements for youth entrepreneurs, saying that they don't have to get a business license, a food handler's permit, pay sales taxes, anything like that, as they are developing their micro entrepreneurship enterprise while they're under the age of 18 as a minor. Many more like that, but that's a sampling to show you how it works. Now, this national network of families that we've built allow us to create what's called a talent and engagement pipeline. This is part of that final layer of the pyramid, and this is a feature that has long been lacking in order to build the capacity and strength of organizations across the movement. Most organizations do not operate a community engagement program. They don't really have a bench of future talent, a pipeline of up-and-coming people that can become their interns, employees, supporters, and donors. We build that for them. That's what this national network allows us to do. So the talent pipeline is where we take the kids in our network, and as they're getting older, as they become 16, 17, 18, and above, we're able to introduce them to the organizations in their state, in their community, for internship opportunities, employment opportunities, youth leadership training, professional development, networking, and so forth. So we become the early stage pipeline for the movement for these organizations, the vast majority of which have nothing like this. We also have an engagement pipeline for the parents and some of the older kids too, where we help them get involved in their community for civic engagement opportunities, training on how to become an effective advocate for change. We become the pipeline for the whole movement, introducing new families, parents, and kids into these organizations to help build them, help grow, help them accomplish their mission. Here's a fun case study as we wrap up. 12-year-old Aiden came to one of our children's entrepreneur markets in Phoenix, Arizona, selling high-end 3D printed items, and in a 3-hour market cleared over $800 in sales. Needless to say, he's been back for more to keep earning a large amount of money and save up for his future by selling fun 3D printed items to customers. Like all the youth entrepreneurs who come to our markets, he received a Tuttle Twins book. His parents bought him the rest. His siblings and his parents, together with Aiden, have been able to read these ideas and learn more deeply about the ideas of a free society. From there, Aiden was able to be part of that final layer of the pyramid, the engagement layer. In Arizona, we partnered with a state senator to advance our lemonade stand law to protect youth entrepreneurs. Who showed up to committee? You're right, it was Aiden, who testified for a minute about his experience as a youth entrepreneur and why he felt that regulation should be reduced so that he could go practice and grow and learn. The committee actually applauded him when he was done testifying, passed the bill. The whole legislature passed the bill. The governor signed it. And now Arizona is one of a dozen or more states that we've been able to help pass these types of laws to shield youth entrepreneurs. That's a little microcosm of what is possible. We want to produce this with 1 million more Aidens, kids of different ages, their parents as well, creating the infrastructure into the freedom movement that does not exist. This is a critical oversight, and this is where we need philanthropic investment to build out this infrastructure, not just for one organization or 5 organizations, but for the entire movement. We are the tip of the spear. We are the ones working on this. We've been doing this for a decade now, slowly building this. We are ready to aggressively scale, and we'd love your help to do so. So again, that's the pyramid of impact. First entrepreneurship, then education, and then engagement, trying to recruit families, educate them, and then empower them to be part of the solution in their state. As I said, we're the only organization reaching, teaching, and activating new families to invest in the future of the freedom movement. Perhaps if you're watching this and you're a philanthropist, you invest in various causes and organizations, and that's fantastic. I'd make an argument that an investment in the Libertas network is additive to those other investments. Why? Let's say you support your local state-based think tank or some of these grassroots organizations who are advancing freedom in your state. That's awesome. Please continue to do that. But those organizations need help. They don't have an early stage community engagement pipeline program to support and strengthen and grow their future. And so an investment in the Libertas network can help in your state, as well as across the country, build out this network of families that we recruit through entrepreneurship fun events, educate through the Tuttle Twins, and then connect to those very organizations that you are already supporting. We become, with your help, the rising tide that lifts all of the boats in the freedom movement. This has been needed for so long. There's been a critical oversight with the freedom movement and its funders to not invest in future growth and this infrastructure to reach, teach, and engage families. Together with your help, we would love to change more hearts, minds, and laws to create a freer future. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us on the contact page on our website or at info@libertas.org. Our team is very easy to reach across social media. Give us a call. We'd love to partner with you to spread these ideas, to engage more families, and help improve the state of our country, the freedom movement specifically, so that our future can be much brighter than it is today. Thanks.